Shalom, shalom, peace and blessings. Now let's get straight into it. So what do we have here? This is the so-called comedian Druski, that he's done this skit here imitating really the IUIC camp, and it's starting to go viral on the internet. And I really wanted to watch this and kind of give my perspective on what I see here. Now, one thing before we even go into the actual skit and everything else about from the Israelite perspective or the IUIC camp, really, because that's what's really being mocked here. It's not the scriptures as much as it is just IUIC, to be honest. But either way, Druski. Now, a lot of you brothers may not be abreast to this, but when you see someone like in Hollywood that gets their hair dyed, that there is a reason for that. Maybe I'll put something on screen, maybe I won't, but there is an esoteric reason that you'll see someone like Druski that has the blonde hair. It happens all the time, which actually stands for mind programming, that someone is under the programming. And when you take a look at someone like a Druski, I think I've touched on him before in some other videos. He is one of these people that you can tell that he bowed the knee to Baal. All right. Baal, the Baphomet, or what have you, whatever you want to, name that horned deity. You can tell that he has. Okay. He's someone that has ascended the ladder very quickly. I remember around the time when Druski first came out, he first, became like a public figure, and he was just putting out, different little funny skits and different things like that. And, out of nowhere, this guy's getting all types of corporate deals, and he's been put in places that, you can tell that it didn't just happen by his own merits. A lot of y'all are still asleep to this, and you just don't get it. You think it's just, hearsay, or you don't understand like why it matters. But when you see someone get to the level that like someone like a Druski has gotten to, there's a reason for it, and it does matter. So when you see something like this, you can know that there is, some type of agenda to it. And I always think that the agenda that's actually being displayed here is a little bit different than what a lot of brothers think. But either way, that's a little bit on Druski. So I do think he is someone under the programming, and also someone that has knowingly, as they call it in the world, quote unquote, sold his soul to the devil. Really, all that means is that you've accepted whatever left hand path deity or deities as your God, and you dismiss the God of the Bible to the point of no return, where you cannot repent. Okay, you blaspheme the word. That's pretty much what that means. If this is someone that has done so, okay, behind closed doors. So you have to always keep that in mind as you're going through when you're seeing this. Now, this person Druski, some of the different things that he's done he's kind of funny in his own right. I just think that I've seen more talented people not reach nowhere near the heights that he has, and I know there's a reason for that. But let's take a look at the skit here. Let's see what we see. So let's play it.
That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right.
So the first few things that we see is, number one, we see that he has on this afro. They got their hands up in a fist, and then they're saying that's right. And he has a garment on this that actually has fringes on it. So it's like, who supplied him with these garments? You got to get that from somebody's in the truth, right? But either way, there's a lot of different things going on here. Number one, just the afro, you see, a lot of you guys don't understand this. They associate, quote unquote, being in the truth or camps and, the scriptures even. They associate us calling ourselves Israelites because we know that that's the truth. They associate that with everything else. Like they would literally call Israelites hoteps. It's like, you don't even know. You just kind of blending everything in. Any type of so-called black movement, And I can't stand the word movement because it's like movement sounds like something that will stop or slow down. So I would never call this the Israelite movement. This is just real life and history, right? That our ancestors knew about before we were displaced because of our sin. But anyways, before I get too much on a tangent there, they associate all this into one group. And that's what he's doing here very craftively, so that the audience would pretty much, associate everything the same. Normally, you don't see, even IUIC or other camps putting their fist up, or everybody wear afros or something. Like they kind of putting all this together, like the Black Panther quote unquote movement. They associating this together. By association, once you see this, you will, associate the Black Panther movement and different type of movements like that, or like even Islam. You will put all this together. So when you see, Israelites putting out the word on the streets, you'll just say, oh, well, this is just some crazy niggas that think they more important than what they are. This, they call Israelites racist and all this other stuff. You know what I mean? So that's pretty much what's happening here. So that was, like I said, that was a very cunning thing for them to do. Because for the most part, I don't really see anyone doing this, and you shouldn't, because this fist in the air, this is the fist of Baal, aka the communist fist. Okay, so this is not something that you really should be associating yourself with, unless you are a communist. If you are a communist, then I guess that's your thing. But you really shouldn't be doing anything like this, putting your fist in the air. That is modeled after the fist of Baal. I'll probably put that on the screen. I've talked about that on other videos, but that's one of the first things that I kind of ascertain here. And everyone else has on fringes, so either they all paid actors, or hey, IUIC, y'all might have some y'all might have some some moles in your organization, right? Let's keep going though.
That's right! That's right! That's right!
Let's talk about the "that's right" thing. It's unfortunate to me that I hear camps say different stuff like "that's right," and there's nothing wrong with it in a sense. There's nothing wrong with it, but you brothers hear something like "that's right," and then you start associating it with the scriptures, and now you almost you act like Yahushua was out here saying that's right, or like that's that's the thing to say. Like, I don't really get it, like how much y'all associate something like this with the scriptures. Like me, I don't look at a camp and I immediately think, okay, this is how the men of the Lord are supposed to conduct themselves. But that's really how a lot of you brothers think that are in camps. Like, y'all have a direct association with, whatever camp you in, or whoever you look up to that's in a camp. And you think, oh, this is how the prophet Isaiah must have been. This is how Zechariah must have been. This is how Obadiah was probably getting down. And it's not, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying it's not. Let me not even say it's not. There's no evidence in the scriptures to substantiate that, right? Unless there's a "that's right." I don't remember reading. I mean, maybe brothers was saying "that's right," but where did this really come from? And this is nothing to, I wouldn't comment this on this video, be like, oh, brothers around here saying "that's right." This is just for us. This is more of an inside conversation, right? I'm just telling the truth. And again, why am I even bringing this up is because there's different things that I see camps do that we just turn a blind eye to it, like it's something that is scriptural, and it's not. And there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with saying "that's right" if you understand that's just something that y'all be saying. This is not something that was in the scriptures or anything. Y'all kind of act like that, the way y'all kind of say the same thing, and it makes you look robotic. Like, a lot of y'all just be saying the same thing. Y'all get in camps and you put on the same garments, and "that's right" this, and you talking the exact same dialect, and you know what I mean? Like, everybody know that's like what a lot of a lot of brothers in camp sound like when they reading the scriptures and stuff. And it's just like, man, y'all just all kind of sound the same and be doing the same thing. And I don't really understand. That's a little weird to me. But anyways, I'm saying all that to say again, just as long as you know that that's not in the scriptures, it's absolutely fine. And the other reason I'm bringing that up is to say this is also why they're mocking IUIC and by proxy other camps too as well, because we do stuff like this. And I guess again, if you look at the potential PR of it, I guess it's a good thing to be known by something. But if it was my approach, I would just believe more in us having some form of organization from a standpoint of we would just have churches. We would be together. We probably wouldn't have any type of you have structure from a certain standpoint, I guess, but not from a throwing the terms around like deacon and bishop and things of that nature or prophet. These are not the types of terms that I would really throw around. It's like we really don't understand the time that we're in. We're not in the time where the Most High has granted men with these levels of understanding. It's like we really don't get that. And that's why a lot of times we go around calling ourselves prophets, right? To be a prophet, you literally have to have an angel come down from heaven and give you a message that the Most High has granted you to deliver to the people. And unless you are writing a new book, you are not a prophet. You may say you're prophesying on something that's already been written if you kind of wanted to put it in that way. But if you're saying it from the standpoint of you are a prophet, then that would be false. But I know a lot of brothers in camps, they call themselves prophets, or these are the prophets of the Lord. And brothers even throw around scriptures saying, oh, this is you mocking the scripture. I mean, mocking the prophets. And it's like, come on, man. That's why I said at the beginning, this is more about camps being mocked than the scriptures. Now, we'll get to it, but I believe in one of the parts, they were mocking, saying we got to keep the statute, laws, and commandments. So that's in the scriptures. So that is a direct mockery of the word. But most of this video is really just about, mocking camps and IUIC more directly, since they're wearing the same colors as IUIC. And I have more to say like on the overall picture, but let me just get through more of this video because I'm already yapping out at this point. Let's keep going.
Receive this word, white man. That's right. That's right. That's right. You celebrate.
Well, I guess that kind of leads me to one thing. You see how they're highlighting, this mock camp here. They're going after the so-called white man, just a random white man. That's another thing I would do differently if it was up to me. Like, I would not just be out there talking to the so-called white man like that. Obviously, if you have a camp and you set up like this, then naturally they will come over to you. So you can do with that as you will. You can either tell them to go on about their day, or you could, tell them that they the devil and to lick your boots, like it says in the book of Isaiah, and so on and so forth. And I get it, but I really would not be talking to them like that at all. It'd be more kind of in the middle to me. I'd just be like, this is not for you. And I wouldn't care about explaining everything and telling them their fate and all of that. I really just don't care enough about them and what they think in order to, break everything down to them, or to say, oh, you white devil, this and that. Because again, as I always say, you can put the so-called white man on the pedestal, and now you're really the one in idolatry if, you give them a certain energy. And unfortunately, in, numerous camps, that's what I see. Is what I see all the time. Is such an emphasis on the so-called white man, and I just find that to be so off. But let's keep going.
Christmas, don't you, brother? Yes, you do. And it's a white holiday. White holiday.
Another thing is, a lot of the pagan holidays were started by so-called black people. It's not they're not so-called white holidays. You know what I mean? Like the so-called white man, yes, in this society has adapted a lot of the ancient festivals. Like at the time I'm recording this, Samhain, aka Halloween, has passed, and that is a so-called, holiday that was taken by the Romans. But I mean, or the so-called white man, I should say. But a lot of these, depending on, whatever the so-called holiday is, at its roots, it was actually, what you would call so-called black people. Ancient Kemet, the ancient Egyptians, so on and so forth, and even our people that were originally in these lands, like Rome, that actually started these things while we were in another form of destitute. So I don't like just associating everything, every so-called holiday with the so-called white man, only because, again, it really doesn't matter, what your so-called skin color is. If it's sin, it don't really matter if it's their holiday or not. Yeah, we know right now they are the ones that are in rulership. Therefore, it would be their holiday by proxy because they've taken a form of it and have the people celebrating it, like Christmas in today's society, Thanksgiving. You could keep going down the list there. Easter. You could say it from that standpoint, but from a certain standpoint, if we're talking about in this origin, our people were the ones responsible for a lot of beginning a lot of these so-called pagan holidays. So just keep that in mind. It's not about your so-called race. It's just, and that's why I look at everything from righteousness or wickedness. I don't look at it as a black and white thing, so-called black and so-called white. It's much deeper than that. Because you can be so-called black, you can have the skin color, but if you still act like the other nations or the so-called white man or what have you, it doesn't really matter. It does you no good at all. You are counted the same as the Gentiles. So let's just keep going.
Power! That's right! That's right! That's right! That's right! Black is power! Black is power!
See, that's what that's what they doing in a very crafty way here, is associating, quote unquote black power or black power movements with the quote unquote Israelite movement. Very craftily there. So that's how a lot of people see camps, though. This is how a lot of people see camps. And when you understand that and you know that you're not delusional about it, it can really help you understand some things. Yes, this is a complete mockery, but we can't act like brothers don't be, marching in a similar sense like that. And brothers don't be going at the so-called white man and white woman. They don't yell, "That's right," a lot. This is, these things are actually true, especially when it comes to IUIC. Some of y'all might be in IUIC or something. I don't know. But either way, it's not like it's, from some of these elements, that's just way far off, because brothers do be doing that. And again, nothing wrong with it. But as long as that's not in the scriptures, then it's cool. Because if it was up to me, I wouldn't be out there doing all that. Just if it was me, if I wanted to go out there and, preach the gospel to our people, I just wouldn't be doing all that if it was me. But either way, let's keep going.
Oh, man. Brother, can I speak to you, please, man? Lost another one. Do you feel as this?
That was funny. Lost another one. Oh, man. And, I remember back in the day when I was going to get one of the last apartments that I was in, if not the last apartment I was in, and we were, me and my rib were looking at some, and there was one of the, I guess apartment managers or what have you that was looking to place us in an apartment. She was saying how, I think she saw the Zeets that I was wearing at that time, and she was saying her brother was in IUIC, and she was married to a so-called white man, and she was just saying how much of the blues that her brother was giving her for being married to a so-called white man. So it kind of reminded me of this interaction here. Now, am I saying it's wrong, though, to approach somebody like this? No, not really. If they walked up, I think it's worth telling them. But, I don't know if I would just go up to everyone like this in this fashion and tell them they going off, especially in this case where you have a so-called black man with a so-called white woman. I mean, like I always say, I'm not saying you should be with a so-called white woman. I'm not with one. However, as crazy as the so-called black woman is, you can't really just call somebody else for race only. You know what I mean? Not in this society, because all women, from all nations are pretty much Babylonian. 98% of them pretty much, like I got in that video. So you could focus on race if you want to, but you'll be missing the bigger picture. So let's see.
This is right. Boys, you need to come join us, bro. That's right. You need to come join us. That's right. That's right.
We are not equal.
We are.
And he said, you need to come join us. So anyone that actually has some, direct interaction with IUIC and other camps, there's a little bit of the element there, like, come join us, or like a recruitment aspect. I was just talking to a brother about that with IUIC specifically. He was saying how there were some brothers, because he was a part of IUIC. He was saying how there were some brothers that left IUIC, and the other brothers that were still there with him were saying, oh, we don't fool with them two brothers because they left the camp. That we don't fool with them no more. So don't talk to them. But it's like, man, where's the brotherly love there? You know what I mean? Like, why are we gangbanging so much, based on camp? That's kind of crazy. And you don't talk to a brother because he's with another camp or decided to not be in a camp. That's wild. And that's a little bit different. Let me go back to the point as far as recruitment. That's a little bit different, but it's something I thought about too. Now, as far as recruitment, this didn't happen directly to me, but another brother was telling me how he would see a brother that was in IUIC frequently, like at a grocery store, I believe. And he would just be like, brother, you ain't got down with us yet. You need to come to camp. You need to come to camp. And it's almost like he just kept trying to recruit him to come to IUIC, which, I guess is cool to a certain degree, but on another level, it's like, shouldn't we be more worried about whether we keeping the statute, laws, and commandments versus, where we congregate, unless we can determine that what you're doing or how you are keeping the statute, laws, commandments, and your attempt is off. That's what I think is more important. But, either way, let's keep going.
That's right. Our ancestors did not live for this. That's right. Poison. You will not stop our brothers or sisters from the Constitution. That's right.
From the Constitution? I don't know what he mean by the Constitution.
I'd rather be in the cell than to be in hell. That's right. Free man. Free man. Free man. Free man. Free man. Free man. That's right. John and Levin.
I remember some brothers did get jammed up before. I believe it was the brothers in Watchmen of Israel. I believe it's something kind of similar happened to that. I don't know if that's what they kind of mocking right there, but yeah, I believe some brothers, if I'm not mistaken, they went to jail or almost went to jail, just kind of out there at camp, and one thing led to another, and things kind of got testy with them and the police, but that part wasn't really funny or insightful to me, but either way.
Chapter 16, that's right. And white man will beneath, emancipated souls. That's right. That's right.
Yeah, so again, focusing on the racial aspect, that it's so carnal to focus only on the racial aspect. The Bible is not the get back at the white man book. It's just not. Esau just happens to be, or the Edomites, right? Or if I say Esau, by proxy, I mean the Edomites. They just happen to be who's in rulership right now. That's it. Why we focusing so much on them, as a people, and giving them power? I don't believe in doing that. And another thing is that book said, I don't believe I can rewind, but it did say something about slavery. And that's another thing that I don't like about the camp system is the the overall focus on the slavery aspect of the scriptures. It's like slavery, was it an absolute horrific time in our people's history? Absolutely. Is it something that we should just forget? Absolutely not. But should we base everything that we teach around it? Should we base our whole existence around slavery? No, we should not all at the same time, because there's more going on, to how our people got here in America than slavery. It was, there wasn't nearly as many slaves as the conventional history. That's been proven that there weren't nearly as many slaves as is taught in conventional history that were on those boats. It would have been physically impossible. We came from Europe, and some of us were already here outside of the ones that came on slave ships. Now, did we come on slave ships? Absolutely. The most documented slave ship that, at least that I'm aware of, is the one that came directly from the coast of Wida or Uweda, or just the coast of Judah, right there in the west coast, the land of Judah there in the west coast of Africa, that landed down there in Mobile, Alabama. Right? Maybe I'll put some of that on the screen. I think I've done lessons on that and talked about that plenty of times. So it's not that I'm saying that slavery didn't exist or we shouldn't talk about it, but a lot of y'all, man, y'all just wake up and read Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter every day and just get mad. You know what I mean? Like it's other things to talk about and other things about history that we need to understand, especially when it comes to the Middle Ages, and we need to inform our people of. And that's why we come off like this. This is why a video like this can even be made. You know what I mean? Like if you just sticking to the scriptures and you being yourself and you're doing the best to be a light and you informing your people of the word, I don't think that a video like this could be made like mocking us. You know what I mean? So my approach would be just to keep to ourselves and not try to be as open. Like that's what I feel like a lot of the other nations do. Like you don't see Indians, trying to push whatever the name of the Indians guys. I may put that on the screen. Y'all know what I'm talking about. And really, it's the intent behind it. It's not about being open and trying to reach other people. I truly believe that a lot of people in camp their intentions are completely different. It's not just about reaching people, reaching our people specifically and getting them to keep the statute, laws, and commandments. I don't believe that's what the intentions is. And then furthermore, like a lot of y'all don't understand that there's only a certain amount of things that we can do. There's only a certain amount of things that we can say and do to persuade somebody to keep the statute, laws, and commandments. It's all up to the Most High, man. And that's it. You plant the seed and let the Most High be the increase. That's all you can do. And when you don't view it like that, it's going off. It's literally a sin, because you're trying to put salvation in your hands as if you have the power. I always think about, something I don't see talked about that much, but Moses in the wilderness. I think about that I think about that account all the time, and just making sure I'm not doing something like that, where the Most High told Moses to speak into the rock and water would come out for the people. And instead of speaking into the rock, he tapped with his staff. He tapped the rock for water to come out. It seems like a small distinction, but this is in the so-called Old Testament. The Most High was already showing us, look. And, Moses got condemned for that. He got banished out of the land, or he was not permitted to go into the land. The Most High allowed him to see it, but he died before Israel actually stepped foot into the land, which at that time was the land of Canaan. So he got punished for it. But the Most High was already showing us before the so-called New Testament, aka the New Covenant, your intentions behind an action, even if it's something little as that, what's going on spiritually within you, matters, and you could be going off spiritually, just like keeping the holy days, like in Isaiah, the 1st chapter, where the Most High said that, in Amos, the 8th chapter, where the Most High said that he hates our feast days. Why did he say that? Because we were griping and complaining about keeping the feast days, like in the book of Nehemiah, griping and complaining and waiting until we can sell again. And see, the intention behind it was completely different. Therefore, you still going off, you still in sin, whether you are physically keeping an action or not. So when I see something like this, it's just so clear to me in the spirit. I could just tell. It's just so plain and obvious to me that most brothers, their intentions behind, doing different things like being in these camps and being out here is not just so that they can wake up the lost tribes or the lost sheep of the house of Israel, I should say. That's not their intentions. Their intentions really is just to be out and to be seen and to sit up there and be in a so-called white man face all day and want a hug from him. That's really what the intention is. I can tell. It's just blatant to me, like I said. But let's keep going.
Yeah, sir. I do not need help. I will assist myself. What form of payment for this, please?
Whatever is easy for you.
Is it because my skin is black? We out here.
Yeah, and look, man, we here, we have to dwell with the other nations. There's no need to even, sometimes like at work, y'all not hostile with the so-called white man because you being paid to be there. But then you go out here and then all of a sudden you a whole different character. Like, that's playing a character to me. Like, I'm not in one environment talking about the so-called white man or acting a certain way with the so-called white man. Then I get here and then I'm acting a way with the so-called white man. I don't believe in that, or any other nations. Obviously that was appear to be at least a so-called Indian woman or something to that extent in the Arab family. I'm not gonna act with them one way here and then act with them, deal with them a different way in another setting. So that just seems fake to me, and it seems like you're putting on an Israelite character, and that's what I kind of ascertain from seeing something like this, is that we're putting on a character, and I just think that's whack. Now, up to this point, I've said a lot about this became more of a camp video than talking about Druski, but this is constructive criticism. It may come off like criticism or quote unquote hate or what have you, but I'm saying all that to say we wouldn't even be able to be mocked if we didn't do certain things, right? Like, imagine if it was just more like some of the things that I said. We just out here, we pulling people to the side, we showing them the scriptures, and we just being a light in our regular lives. And as the caption says, these spiritual dudes on the street be aggressive. If we didn't, you're supposed to be aggressive, but just not in this manner. Right. In different things that I've mentioned, like how could Druski and our other people even make videos mocking us? I just don't think it would be possible. So, I just don't know about these characters that brothers be playing, but let's keep going.
We're bringing our people back to the law, statutes, and commandments, man.
You see, now that is mocking the scriptures, because this whole video is satire. But he mentioned directly something that is actually in the scriptures, and even in the last book of the last book of the Bible, the last chapter in the last book of the Bible, Revelation, the 22nd chapter, it tells us to keep the statute, laws, and commandments, right? In the 14th verse. So that's the part I don't like, because you making light of that as if that's not supposed to be a thing. But, it's whatever. The rest of the video in itself, it does have some comedic elements to it, but this little hand in air is whack to me. I think that's the worst part of it, is that, and now we'll talk more about that, like overall picture. I think the worst part of this is that, when the average person sees this, again, just by association, that's how the human brain works. We like association. So we like to see things and group it together and categorize it together to make more sense of it. So most people are going to see this and all they're going to say is, oh, that's just another Black Power type group. You just a Malcolm X behind nigga. That's just kind of how people think. And I think that's the worst part of it. And this video is doing more to promote that. I think that's the worst part of it. But, you know, outside of that, I just see certain elements about certain camps that actually is kind of true to a certain extent. But anyways.
Follow rules made by white men. We do not follow rules made by white men.
Yeah, see, let's just not care about the so-called white man as much. That's all I got to say about that part.
You are not a sister, and you will not proceed to be a sister.
I'm sorry.
That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right. Who is your master? Who is your master?
They say Yahshua. Who is your master? Yahshua. It sound like they said that. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's what it sounded like they said, which is pretty much the modern Hebrew for Christ, or quote unquote Jesus. Now this part is there's actually something to be said about this part too. Let's look.
What y'all doing after that? Is that the party or something? What's your name in Baptist?
Marley.
Oh shit! Hey, you thinking hell?
Now I will say this. So there are brothers that have attested to this, that I've talked to, that have been in camps or even currently in camps, that have told me they've seen brothers go from preaching to just, you know, to wilding out. It just reminds you of the Sunday church system all over again. And we can't act like that's not a thing. Now, again, this is inside. This is things we talk about in-house. Okay, I'm not going to comment this under this video. I'm not going to put this in like a public forum from the standpoint of like on my personal social media websites. And I don't be calling Israelites out, but these are things that we do have to discuss. And that's why I don't like this playing a character stuff, brothers. Like a lot of brothers be doing this, man. They act a certain way at camp, and then they leave out and they get to cutting the rug. A lot of brothers too. Let's be real here. A lot of brothers just drink too much, man. A lot of brothers be getting drunken and don't drink and don't use moderation. And that's just real. So, you know, everything else, you know, how much weight does that really hold? So that's something that we have to make sure that we not doing, whether you're in a camp or not. And by the way, speaking of that, you're no better if you're not in a camp. That just happens to be the topic now, because this video has gained some traction. I don't know how many views. I can't see that from here, but I can see that it has 1 million likes. So anything that has 1 million likes, it probably has at least 4 to 5 times as many views, if not more. So this has millions of views, and it's gaining some traction. So that's just what I think about this. Now, for brothers that really want structure, they want to be led in a certain way. If you really want to join a camp, I don't think there's nothing wrong with that, but you do have to understand and keep these things in mind, and really have to work on yourself and not try to lean on whatever organization that you're in. You constantly need to be working on yourself. But what I think about this video is it really doesn't matter. This doesn't change. Everybody was already feeling like this. It does just kind of promote that, everything is all a part of the same, quote unquote, Black Power movement. Was Druski paid to do this? I mean, I don't know, probably directly paid to do this, but this is something he would have no problem doing. He's done much worse than this behind the scenes. I promise you that. So this is nothing compared to what he's, actually doing. He doesn't believe in the scriptures. And, if you look at the comments, most of these people don't. So what I think our secret weapon is to get through to the hopeful elect, in my perspective, is to not come like this, because you're already Most High is gonna wake up whoever you want to wake up, but you're already fighting uphill. If you come through like this, in the same type energy as most camps do, then a lot of times you're going to be dismissed. To me, in order to get through to someone, they can't have their defenses up to where they're not going to listen to anything that you say. So to me, I think that's going to be more and more relevant, because it's already done, brothers. Like, we already have a certain connotation that comes with being a quote unquote Hebrew Israelite. All right, that's already done. There's nothing you could do about it. It's already set. So I believe in order to really show the people the scriptures, and when I say that, meaning to tell them to repent and keep the statute, laws, and commandments, and actually believe and have faith in Yahweh Shai HaMashiach, I believe that this is going to be, from the surface level, is going to be less and less effective to do so. Just telling you, because it's becoming more and more of a negative connotation, and will just be easily dismissed. As soon as they see somebody sitting up with a mic and all of these pictures and graphics that brothers normally have, they just gonna already think a certain way, and it's gonna be harder and harder for people to kind of accept that. But you can't stop the word from getting out either way. And this is all just surface level. It doesn't matter. The Most High gonna wake up whoever he wants to wake up. But I don't think this is as positive as brothers think, for real, because most people, they kind of not, they not getting it. They see this as a form of entertainment. It's just funny to them. They're not really seeing what's going on. So let's kind of look at some of these comments. It says, bro, they're going to find you. Excuse me, bro, they going to find out where you live and start marching outside your house. Yeah, all these comedians in the comments. Illy Israel, though, said, we going global, 12 tribes, stand up. Yep. This is somebody, Kalani, L-A-M, whatever. This is somebody else, looks like. The ending has me crying. People laughing. I love how he come for everybody. It's more about Druski. IUIC, one of the main pages. I ain't gonna lie, IUIC, they got 1 million pages to me. Listen, another one right here. Man, y'all got a lot of pages, bro. I ain't gonna lie, I ain't seen like I got a page for every city, and within the city, you got a captain's page. It's like, man, y'all got 12,000 IG pages. I ain't saying nothing wrong with it. But they said, thanks for the alley-oop. We appreciate you. Yeah. IUIC Los Angeles says, what Druski meant for bad, God meant for good. Keep bringing more attention to the truth, sir. Visit IsraelUnited.org. That's cool. The fact you did this in the streets, I'm surprised they didn't see you. The ending is very accurate. And look, some of these women, man, they starting to pick up on brothers that be doing this. So like, a lot of y'all are playing characters. So, that's another thing that I've had direct, witness from, or at least have been told to me directly too, is that we have brothers in camps that, how they act with the woman. This is my wife now, and then you end up, having sex with the woman, and you claim that's your wife, but she get pregnant, and brothers that call themselves in the truth, not taking care of the baby, and just running in and out of women, all types of stuff. So, none of us are perfect, but at the same time, you don't want to be the brother that's out here doing all this, and then you still dealing the same way with the woman. You still doing, this and that. It just looks even worse, right? Cam Jackson said, bro, do you feel as if this is right? Call Dr. Umar right now. Dr. Umar or someone's watching this feeling like his job is done. They thinking that this is the same as Dr. Umar, but of course, it's nowhere near the same. Let's see. Them Hebrew Israelites don't be playing. Can't even go to Walmart on Saturday without getting approached and the yelling. I understand. Isaiah 58:1 cry not, spare up. I get it. Okay. Spare not, cry loud. I get it. However, yeah, just a certain way to to do things. Daughter of Sarah IUIC, tagged IUIC. Most people just laughing. It's just a game to most of these people. So I wouldn't say this is a direct mockery for the most part. See, mocking the men of the Lord. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know about that. When I see men of the Lord, I think about the actual men in the scriptures. So the rest of us, we have to be proven that we men of the Lord. That's why I always say aspiring men of the Lord, because we really don't know that until Yahushua comes back. But I think that's enough comments unless there's anything else. Most people are just laughing. But I can tell how recent it is that this video is still getting a lot of traction, because I think this video, posted 2 days ago from the time I'm recording it. This video is getting a lot of traction. So that's pretty much it. I just want to share my views on this. What you brothers and sisters think, let me know. But that's pretty much it for this one. Lord willing, this was edifying. And until the next time, I bid everyone a mighty shalom.